There we go. See?
What you got?
Well, I'm wanting to know, as far as on the on our teeth. The only thing, okay, I know. I just wanted to clarify some stuff pretty much with you.
Sure.
On the maxillary incisors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the way you can tell left from right is the corners of them. The mesial is 90-degree angle, and the outer is more rounded.
Mesial incisal angle is fairly 90. Fairly.
It's a little sharper than the.
It's sharper. Distal incisal is rounded.
Okay. And then you can tell front and back pretty easily because you got the cingulum on the back.
Cingulum, right.
Okay. On your lateral.
That's the best way.
Okay. And then on your lateral incisors, same thing. Everything all around.
And you tell if it's an upper central incisor from a lower central incisor. You don't really look at the crown as much as you do the root. If the root looks
Curve,
flat, mesial and distal, kind of flat like this from the mesial, if I put my fingers, if this is a root and I put my fingers on it like that, and it's pretty flat mesial and distal, and so it makes the root facially, lingually, fairly wide, but not wide this way, you see. That's because you depending on whose mouth a particular tooth came from,
yeah.
you might get a crown that looks like, let's say, looks like a lateral incisor. But is it an upper or lower? The lower incisors, the roots, are fairly flat mesial distal, pretty wide facially and lingually. Upper incisors are not like that. They're just kind of round like that. They're pretty much shaped like a football. Let's see if this shows. Yeah. Take that one. Is it an incisor or a canine?
That's an incisor.
It's an incisor. Before you decide if it's a central or lateral, is it an upper or a lower? Look at the root. Now imagine that you could just cut across the root like that and look at the cross section. It'd be fairly like football shape. See that?
Yeah.
Now look at this one. Look at this one. No, sorry. Is it an upper or lower?
It's an upper?
Well, it's actually a lower because.
Okay, so the lower one's more oval.
Yeah, more oval. More, even like football that you've stretched out.
Okay.
So now take your fingers and put it mesial and distal on the root.
All right. On both of them?
Yeah. That, on the lower one, that's fairly flat.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it's not, it's so flat, mesial and distally, that you tend to have a little depression in there.
Yeah.
Kind of sinks in a
Kind of
little
feel
bit.
there.
And if you look at the facial and lingual, put your finger on the facial and lingual, that's very wide.
Mm-hmm. Especially compared to.
And it's not the same way on an upper. It's not the same way.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. This one's more rounded and almost, I wouldn't say triangular, but it's got more shape than this one.
I
This
don't
is
have a board here, but
more two-dimensional almost.
lower roots tend to be real wide facially, lingually, not so wide mesially distally. Not nearly as wide mesially distally.
Okay.
And because they tend to be what I call flat, they tend to kind of go inward like that a little bit and make that mesial and distal depression.
And then, so this one would be, if I had to guess, this would be lower.
Is that a central or lateral first of all? Look at that mesial outline where the incisal and the mesial surface come together. See what kind of angle they make. Then look at the distal. Of course, you don't know mesial from distal right now. You probably can't tell. Look at the distal and see what kind of angle they make.
Okay, they're more, This one's more rounded right here. So
Here, let me see that one to see if you're seeing what I'm seeing.
a little more rounded. Yeah.
It actually is, but you know what I think this is? I think this is probably a central incisor. It might be a lateral. Let's call this a lateral, because I see what you're seeing. Here's what I'm seeing. I'm going to call that mesial,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to call the contact right about here. I'm going to call this distal, because to me, yeah, it does look a little more rounded. I'm going to put the contact right about there. It's a little more toward the
Side
side.
of front to the
So this would be, you're looking at the facial, this would be, if you call that a lateral, it would be a right or left lateral.
yeah. Right.
It's a right lateral, which would be number 26. Now, I'm not real sure. I'm looking at the incisal. Here's what I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see, if I'm looking straight at the incisal, if it looks like that crown is twisted a little bit, I'm going to say distal lingual. Distally, twisted a little distally and a little lingually. It really doesn't look like that to me. But when that's typical, though, if you could see from the incisal, the crown would look like it's twisted on its root trunk. That's the
Mhm.
trunk. A little bit toward the distal and the lingual like that. That doesn't look that way, but I agree with you. When I look at that, this looks more rounded here
Mhm.
than that does.
So, like, if it's twisted a little bit, would that be? You said would that be a lateral?
Be a left.
Okay. Because it's gonna have to curve more for the.
It's what it's doing is you're real narrow right here,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like that tooth is kind of, that crown is curving around to meet the canine
Yeah.
right here.
Okay.
And the whole tooth is probably twisted a little bit, but the crown looks like it's twisted too.
Okay.
So I agree with you. I'd say in that respect, that looks like a lateral.
So that's how you would tell on the bottom. That's how you would tell a central from a lateral.
Uh-huh.
Okay. If it's just a little bit more twisted on the root.
Mhm.
Okay. And then that's just in general. Like you wouldn't have to have two teeth from the same mouth
No.
to tell that.
Let me see. Okay, do this one. Is that an incisor?
Yes.
Is it upper or lower?
This would be a lower.
Yeah. Now, another thing, not only is the root pretty flat right there, especially that dimension is much less than that dimension. Yeah, much less. And also, you've got some definite depressions
Mhm.
there. Okay, so you're calling it a lower. Look, has it a central or a lateral? And use those two criteria. The one that you use to see a difference in the incisal, mesial incisal, and the distal incisal angle, and then do like you're doing and look from the incisal straight down from the incisal and see if it looks like it's twisted a little bit.
So that'd be this would be from the left side,
Let me look at this.
I think.
That's a left lateral.
Yeah.
That's number 23. What I'm going to try to do is I'm probably going to give you one or two laterals. One or two laterals, and they're going to be laterals that you can see both of those features. You can see that you've got a little bit of twist to the crown to the distal and the lingual, and when you look from the facial, you see that one corner is more rounded than the other corner is.
And then, so on this, on most central incisors, you won't have that difference between the distal and mesial.
If you look at a central, you won't have that difference.
So it should be two angles that are
Angles exactly
similar.
alike.
Okay.
And when you split that crown down the middle with your eye, that distal half and the mesial half are just mirror images of each other. Now, when you're looking at incisors, especially lower incisors, it's hard to see these things because they're such small teeth,
Yeah.
and the differences tend to be pretty damn subtle.
Yeah.
You take a tooth out of somebody's mouth and put it in your hand, and if it's a lower incisor, you may not be able to tell
Yeah.
without really getting down to that finite. Okay, yeah, the distal half of the crown is